I was looking for a Shedeur film when I came across the worst fourth down attempt of all time. It is 4th and 1, bordering on the red zone, and I want to direct your attention to right tackle Jack Conklin. Because who told him to do this?
Right.
What is that? The Superman whiff? My man. Aside from that, that's a false start in the backfield. He gets set in motion, and that's a false start right there. Doesn't get called, whatever. Lastly, let's look at left guard big Joel Bitonio.
You know, I was there this last week, and I was around him. He was in the meetings. Both of them were. I actually talked to the rookies one day, just, tried to give them some advice on how to, learn the playbook and stuff. And it's hard to tell in, 3 days, but I think if you look at every Instagram, every Twitter, everything the Browns do, it's something about, Shedeur Sanders or sign Nick Chubb. So I think it's the hot button topics, that we have. But, I've met him, just for a few days, and he seems like he's ready to work, just like all the rookies.
I was looking for a Shatter film when I came across the worst fourth down attempt of all time. He was in the meetings. Both of them were, I actually talked to the rookies one day, just, some trying to give him some advice on how to, learn the playbook and stuff. Joel Bitonio just got caught having instant regret after viral footage exposed him. So don't skip a single second of this video. And if this story touches your heart, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comments. Where are you watching from? Let's begin. The crazy part is, this all started with one play. One snap. 4th and 1 that Cleveland wishes the internet had never seen. Because once that clip hit the timeline, once people started slowing it down, rewinding it, zooming in on every step, the whole illusion around this team started to crack. You look at that moment again. Jack Conklin doing this wild Superman dive at absolutely nobody. Joel Bitonio just collapsing like somebody cut his wires. And 2 defenders screaming through untouched to smoke your rookie quarterback. That's not just a bad rep. That's not just, oh my bad, coach. That looks like a unit that's not locked in. That looks like a line that's not moving with urgency for their guy. And don't let anybody gaslight you into thinking we're overreacting. We've all seen blown assignments. We've all seen miscommunication up front. But this was different. There's a difference between getting beat and just not being there. Conklin's in the air like he's launching off a trampoline. Bitonio's on the ground without even getting his hands on a body. And Shedeur is back there with zero chance. That's the part that sticks with you. He never had a chance on that play. It was dead before the ball even left the center's hand. Before this clip went viral, it was just the film junkies and the hardcore fans whispering about it. People saying, yo, something looks off when this kid is in the game. Why does the protection look different? Why are the calls so conservative? But once that angle hit social media, once people started stitching it, breaking it down, calling it the worst fourth down attempt they've ever seen, you couldn't avoid it anymore. Analysts started chiming in. Former players started talking about effort. Even neutral fans were like, nah, this is weird. And you can feel it, man. You can feel the tension behind that one snap. Because this isn't just about technique or footing or communication. This is about pride, professionalism, respect for the jersey and for the kid you're supposed to be protecting. When your veteran Pro Bowl guard is on the ground, when your right tackle looks like he's auditioning for a superhero movie instead of blocking an actual defender, it sends a message. Whether they mean to or not, it tells your rookie quarterback, you're on your own. That's why this moment matters. That's why this play won't go away. It ripped the cover off everything people have been trying to deny about this team. We're not just talking about a failed fourth down in October. We're talking about the moment the mask slipped in Cleveland. And once that mask is off, you've got to ask the real question. Where does that leave Shedeur Sanders inside this locker room and inside this organization? It becomes obvious the moment you flip the perspective and look at all of this through Shedeur's eyes. Because this isn't just a rookie trying to earn his stripes. This is a rookie walking straight into an ecosystem that already feels divided about him. From day one, he wasn't stepping into a clean locker room dynamic or a unified fan base. He walked into a building where half the people were curious, some were excited, and a whole bunch were already rolling their eyes before he even put the helmet on. That's the kind of energy he's dealing with, and nobody wants to talk about it out loud. And that's what makes his situation so wild. On the outside, the hype is massive. Social media loves him. College fans follow him. Every time he touches the field, the cameras pick him up instantly. But inside the building, man, it feels like a different universe. One minute he's named the starter. The next minute, he's being pulled after a handful of safe throws. Then his pass attempts get chopped in half. Then suddenly we're back to Dillon Gabriel, even though Gabriel hasn't exactly taken command of the offense. These aren't football decisions anymore. These are political decisions. These are protect the investment, protect the narrative, don't rock the veteran room decisions. You can feel it, because here's the truth. Shedeur looks like the most naturally gifted quarterback on the roster. Arm talent, timing, pocket poise, he checks all the boxes. Yet he's treated like he's just keeping the seat warm. He's not getting first-team reps consistently. He's not getting the playbook opened up for him. Whenever he steps in, the offense suddenly becomes this watered-down, training wheels version of itself. Screens, check downs, one read, rollouts. It's like the staff is scared to let him be who he is. And if you've watched this game long enough, you've seen this happen before. Young quarterbacks who intimidate the room without even trying. Guys who don't play the humble backup role the way coaches expect. Guys who bring so much attention that the veterans feel the pressure shift. And let's keep it real. The only players who seem truly excited about him are the younger guys. The rookies, the second-year dudes, the ones who don't have a decade of politics tied into the depth chart. Everybody else looks hesitant, careful. Like they're waiting for permission to believe in him. So when people say, oh, he's just competing, I don't buy it. Competing is when both quarterbacks get a fair shake. Competing is when the offense doesn't shrink around one guy and expand around the other. Competing is when the locker room is told the job is open and the reps reflect that. What Shedeur is facing isn't competition, it's survival. He's trying to prove himself in a building that still hasn't decided whether it actually wants him to succeed. And until that changes, every snap he gets is going to feel like a fight against more than just the defense across from him. There comes a point, as a fan, where you stop giving people the benefit of the doubt. And I think Cleveland crossed that line the moment the excuses stopped matching what we were seeing on the field. Because let's be real, we've all heard the same recycled lines. Rookies need time, the game plan was conservative, the conditions weren't ideal. But none of that explains the patterns. None of that explains the body language, the effort level, the cautious coaching, or the way this organization handles Shedeur compared to literally every other young quarterback getting a shot right now. And it all shows up the moment those press conferences start. Veterans sitting at the podium talking about him taking the easy stuff, saying it with that tone, that pause, like they're choosing their words carefully. Not praising him, not defending him, just neutral, lukewarm. And that's almost worse than criticism. Because when a locker room truly believes in a young QB, they don't speak in half sentences. They hype him up. They lift him. Look at Philly when Hurts first took over. Look at Houston with Stroud. That's what belief sounds like. Cleveland's veterans, they sound like they're trying not to say the wrong thing. Then you factor in the play calling. And this is where it gets impossible to ignore. Every time Shedeur touches the field, the entire offense shrinks. No shots, no rhythm throws, no chance to take over a drive. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel goes out there and gets 40, 50 attempts like the staff wants to prove a point. And I'm sorry, but that's not development. That's politics. That's protecting the guy you drafted higher, even if the other kid might legitimately run your offense better. And let's talk about the reps, because that's another thing fans have been screaming about. You can't evaluate a rookie quarterback off scraps, off random drives, off 24 attempts in a windy game. You build a quarterback by giving him the repetitions that matter. First-team timing, first-team chemistry. Shedeur hasn't gotten that, at all. And yet somehow, he's the one being judged the harshest. Then the viral play dropped, and suddenly the whispers turned into a conversation. Because no amount of coach speak can explain two linemen vacating their assignments like that. People can handle losing. People can handle growing pains. But fans know what effort looks like, and what it doesn't look like. That 4th and 1 didn't look like miscommunication. It looked like a quarterback playing behind an offense that isn't fully invested in him. So no, you're not crazy for noticing this stuff. You're not overreacting because you paused the film. These are real patterns, real inconsistencies, real contradictions. And the longer it goes on, the harder it becomes to believe this is just coincidence. But here's the twist. Pressure has a funny way of revealing who people really are. And the more this situation tightens around Shedeur, the more you start to see the outlines of something bigger forming. Something the Browns might not be ready for, but can't stop once it starts. You can tell a lot about a quarterback by what he does when everything around him is falling apart. And that's the part of this story nobody saw coming. The part the Browns can't hide, no matter how chaotic everything else looks. Because while the organization keeps sending mixed messages, while the veterans give half-hearted quotes, while the play calling hems him in, Shedeur Sanders is doing something a lot of rookies never figure out. He's getting stronger in the middle of the storm. Watch him on the sideline. Watch him in the huddle. There's no panic, no slump in the shoulders, no body language that screams, "Man, get me out of here." Instead, he stands tall. He commands. Even when the pocket is collapsing before he finishes the third step of his drop, he resets. He processes. He looks like a guy who's studying the turbulence rather than drowning in it. And that's rare. That's the stuff you can't teach. And the crazy thing is, the young guys already see it. Every time the camera cuts to the bench, you notice who's sitting with him. The rookies, the second-year receivers, the guys fighting through the same learning curve he's on. They lean in when he talks. They nod. They respond. That's leadership. Not the loud, performative kind, but the real thing that forms naturally when players recognize someone who refuses to break. And if you listen closely, even the veterans who don't fully endorse him give these subtle hints of respect. They talk about his poise, his huddle presence, his ability to get everyone lined up. They may not be ready to crown him the future, but they're starting to understand he's not just another rookie thrown into chaos. He's someone who belongs in the league. The adversity is shaping him, not shaking him. People forget Mahomes sat and waited while critics questioned whether he was too flashy for Andy Reid's system. Brady was viewed as a game manager early on. Lamar was told he should switch positions. Every great quarterback has that phase where the league tests them, where the environment tries to squeeze out their confidence. And here's the beauty of it. Those moments didn't create their greatness, but they revealed it. And we're seeing the same outline with Shedeur. Even in limited opportunities, the flashes pop, the tight window throws, the timing on outbreaking routes, the calm legs inside a collapsing pocket, the command at the line, all the things that scouts circle on film with the words, "This kid has it." So here's the twist the Browns never expected. They might have thought they could bury him behind politics, behind Gabriel, behind conservative game plans and chaotic line play. But all they did was put him through the fire early. And the fire didn't burn him, it forged him. And once a quarterback starts evolving under pressure like that, once the confidence becomes internal instead of external, that's when the league is in trouble. Because if this is who Shedeur is before he gets real reps, real support, and a real system behind him, imagine what he becomes once the door finally opens. There's a moment in every NFL story, every quarterback arc, every franchise shift, where everything feels like it's falling apart. But in reality, something new is being built underneath the rubble. And that's exactly where we are with Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland. This doesn't feel like the end. This feels like the beginning before the beginning. That uncomfortable stretch right before the breakthrough hits. Because let's be real, fans aren't divided anymore. They're uniting. Browns fans, Colorado fans, neutral fans. Everyone who's been watching this unfold can feel the frustration bubbling over. And frustration is powerful. It brings clarity. It forces conversations. It puts pressure on the people who thought they could play this situation however they wanted. You can already see the narrative shifting online. You can see more people calling out the coaching decisions. You can see the media finally admitting something feels off. This is how fan movements start. Not with hype, but with a moment where everyone collectively says, enough. And eventually, that pressure hits the coaching staff. It always does. Because there comes a day, maybe after another loss, maybe after another game where the offense sputters, where Kevin Stefanski won't be able to hide behind safe answers anymore. There comes a moment where the quarterback room politics stop mattering because the locker room needs a spark and the fans demand a change. And when you have a rookie with elite poise, real arm talent, and a fan base rallying behind him, You can only ignore that for so long before the dam breaks. And here's the part the Browns didn't plan for. Shedeur's rise isn't being slowed by this chaos. It's being fueled by it. Every mixed message, every awkward press conference, every limited play call, every viral breakdown is adding to the pressure. And pressure creates moments. Pressure forces decisions. Pressure takes a quiet depth chart battle and turns it into something the entire league has to pay attention to. At some point, whether it's an injury, a losing streak, or just undeniable momentum, Shedeur is getting another shot. It's inevitable, and when that moment comes, everything flips instantly. The same people who doubted him will say they saw it coming. The same fans who stayed home will rush back into the stadium. The same organization that tried to slow play him will claim it was all part of the plan. But we'll know the truth. We'll know this wasn't some carefully constructed rise. This was a kid fighting uphill, refusing to fold, growing sharper under pressure until the opportunity finally cracked open. And when that moment hits, when he steps onto the field with the offense behind him and the city finally paying attention, that's when this story becomes something bigger than Cleveland. Because years from now, we might look back at that embarrassing 4th and 1, the play everyone clowned, and realize it was the spark. The exact moment a sleeping giant woke up. And if that's how this story ends, then trust me, it's only just getting started.